So I turned 30 a few days ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like, where the heck did these past 10 years of my life go? It happened way too quick. Like, what happened? But over the past 30 years, I've learned quite a few things, good and bad, and I hope that some of these things that I've learned are gonna help you guys out throughout your journey of life. I'd like to start with the first one, to be present in the moment. I feel like everybody and their mother now knows about this, but I feel like this is still so important in today's day and age, because even though it's talked about quite often to be present in the moment, I still see people all the time on their phones and being so busy with things that just don't even matter. I mean, my mom, for example, I love my mom to death, but my mom will be out somewhere in a restaurant, or we'll just be, hanging out together at the house, and she'll be on her phone all the time. And that really annoys me because, I want to be talking to her. I don't want her to be, showing me stuff on the phone that I don't care about, And I feel like that goes for a lot of people. And I'm sure a lot of people can understand me when I say that, because I am rarely on my phone. I'm not going to lie. I'm on my phone for YouTube. I do love me some good old YouTube, but I try my best to not be on my phone and to not be occupied with things that aren't happening like right before my eyes. So, for example, if I go for a walk, I don't like to be on my phone or even listen to a podcast when I'm going out for a walk, because it's just so much noise and so much distraction, constantly going up in your brain. You don't give yourself the time to enjoy the silence and just enjoy the things that are going on around you, or enjoy the people that are around you. So I encourage you to put down all the noise, put down all the distractions, and take a step back and actually look at what the heck is going on in front of you and be present in it, enjoy it. If there's nothing to do, just enjoy the view, take some time for yourself to think, and just leave all those distractions for another time. I feel like people really underestimate the value of prayer. It's so powerful. And I've come to learn that praying first thing in the morning just sets the tone and sets the intention for my day. It just starts it off on such a good note. Whether I have a good or bad day, I feel like I'm just at peace, I'm calm, I'm ready to take on anything, and it makes me feel like there is somebody out there that's listening. So maybe you don't have somebody to talk to, but God's always there to listen to you through your good and your bad moments. Don't be afraid to talk to Him about your failures, your dreams, your fears, because He's always going to be there listening and guiding you towards the right path. Now, on a completely different note, I don't even know how to say this. Something else I've learned is that if you're not going to the bathroom every day, well, that's quite a big problem. Your body's trying to tell you something. It's deficient in something. Something's going on there that's just not right. So you need to be having a bowel movement every single day. And a good one too, not like a little pebble. I'm being dead serious. Your body's trying to get rid of like all this toxic waste. So imagine if you're unable to get rid of something like, that waste every day, it just starts to build up and accumulate in your body. And eventually it starts to not feel very good. And you start to feel like going to the bathroom every day is lit, to be honest. Like, you feel so good. You also have to have patience with others. In my case, for example, I live with my grandmother and she has Alzheimer's. And I feel like every day it gets worse. So it's been so hard to see that happen every day. Like it's happening right before my eyes every single day. And she is not the same person that she was. She is a completely different person. And it took me quite some time to accept that. And I knew I just had to be very patient with her, because with somebody with Alzheimer's, they'll repeat the same thing to you 20 times within the span of like 5 minutes. And I used to get a little bit frustrated in the beginning, and sometimes I still do, and it's still something that I'm working on. It's just such an important skill to have, because I feel like if you don't have patience, you're gonna be maybe stressed out all the time. You may get upset over things that just don't even matter, honestly. And I just feel like it helps you be almost like a happier person. So I pray for patience every day. Speaking of family, sometimes your parents aren't always right. For the majority of my life, I followed what it was that my parents wanted me to do. I come from a Latin family, and in their eyes, it's like your career is only to either become like a doctor, lawyer, engineer. But once I finished college and I realized that this wasn't what I wanted to do, I was kind of like, oh dang, I'm in trouble now. And I remember the day that I finally got my bachelor's degree and I showed that to my dad. I'll never forget the day that he's like, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations, whatever. And I was like, dang, this is like the first time my dad has told me he's like so proud of me. And it felt so good. I was like, wow, yes, I did something right. Something he's like proud of. And here I am, unhappy, trying to apply for jobs that I really don't care about, that I really don't want. Like right now, I feel like my parents look at me like they're so disappointed in me. But you also know what's best for you and what it is that you want to do for the rest of your life. So, listen to their advice and also just sit down and listen to yourself and what it is that you really want. Now, one of my favorite sayings is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like if you're always comfortable, you're never going to be in a place that you're learning, that you're growing, that you're becoming a higher and better version of yourself. Because if you're too comfortable, you're going to be like that forever. I always feel like I'm trying to challenge myself. So whether it's spiritually, emotionally, physically, learning something new, I feel like just being in this constant loop of always trying to work on yourself is so important. Even if you finally reach a point that you're like, oh man, I finally made it. I made it to this point. I got to my goal. That's it. No, like you gotta keep going. There's always room to grow from there and to improve from there and to get bigger or feel better. So you always have to be continuously working on yourself. Now, mindset is also something that is just so important. And I mean, if you want to be successful at life, I just feel like having the right type of mindset is crucial for you. I mean, personally, for me, I wouldn't say that I'm successful at life financially, but I think that I'm working towards that. And I feel like I am successful in so many other aspects of my life. Fine, I may be broke, but I feel like in terms of how I feel inside, my health, my relationships, I feel like I am blooming in success with that. And that's something that I have worked very hard on to achieve. And financially, I feel like that's been one I've been trying to work on for years. But I see the goal. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm climbing my ladder. I'm climbing my way up there. So I know it's going to happen for me one day. But mindset is everything. You need to visualize what it is that you want for yourself, what it is that you want for your life, for your future, and truly, truly see it and truly believe it. Somebody that's always saying like, oh, like men are terrible, I'm gonna get cheated on like always. You're just not having the right mindset. And those are the things that you're gonna attract in your life. Think about things a little bit differently. Do you want a man to continuously cheat on you? No, then stop saying those things and think of a man that will be good to you. Do you want to keep getting rejected from jobs? No. So stop thinking you're going to get rejected from jobs and actually see yourself going to an interview, go prepared, and see yourself getting the job. And eventually one day it is going to happen for you. I can tell you this in my personal experience. I envisioned the type of man that I wanted to be with. And I wrote about him and I pictured him and I just knew what type of a man that I wanted to be with and how I wanted to be treated and, just the type of life I saw for myself with this person. And I promise you that within about a month of me doing this, I met this person. And I just thought it was so crazy and so funny how sometimes the world works, because he had also told me the same thing, that the same thing had happened to him, and he also had like, you know, a little entry of what it is that he wanted in a woman and the type of woman that he wanted to be with. And we both found each other. And I thought that was incredible. And I couldn't be any happier with this person. And, sometimes it may take a while. Sometimes it may happen really quickly. But you have to know that whatever it is, it's going to happen. Whatever it is that you put your mind to, it will happen to you. It may take a day, a week, a month, a few years, but it will happen if you continue to have that right mindset. And that's just how I see everything in my life. I try and always see the best possible outcome for myself and for others. That being said, you also have to be prepared to go through different phases of your life. You're gonna have phases of your life that you feel like you're on top of the world and you feel like the cards are just lining up for you and everything is just working out so wonderfully for you. And then you're gonna have moments in your life where everything just feels like it's crashing and burning. And you gotta be prepared for that. You have to know that when the good times are good, embrace it, enjoy. And when the bad times get real bad, you also have to just accept it and not drown in those moments and know that you're going to come out of it and life is going to move on. And you have to take it as a learning lesson, like something that builds your character. Like we all go through good moments. We all go through moments that we suffer. So it's just a part of life and you have to be prepared for those moments. Right now, at this moment of my life, I could say that I've experienced some of the best moments of my life and some of the worst moments of my life, because at the age of 30 years old, I thought maybe I would have seen my life a little bit differently right now. Maybe I saw myself being married by this time, having a family, having this great career, having my own house, but I don't have those things, and that's okay. I know it's gonna come in the future for me, for sure, because that is something that I definitely want in my life. But some of the moments that I've experienced throughout this time have definitely been very eye-opening, very humbling. It's like right now, I'm somebody that I went to school. I thought I did all the right things. And for the past it's gonna be almost a year, I've been doing Uber Eats deliveries to try and survive and make some money so I can try and support myself. And, having $1.10 in your bank account does not feel good whatsoever. But I truly, truly feel like I've had to go through these very low moments in my life to make me the best version of myself for the future. But I also feel like I'm in a moment in my life right now that I feel so blessed and like I'm able to survive for the time being, but I feel like it's given me the opportunity to try and work on the things that I really, really do want to work on. I see it as a win in my eyes. And sometimes that's kind of hard to explain to people, and especially family, especially a Latin family. But all in all, just be prepared to go through your good and your bad times throughout the whole course of your life, you know? You never know what can happen. You never know. And having said that, just also knowing when to be silent. I say that because, yes, sometimes it is better to move in silence with what it is that you may be working on in your personal life. You know, sometimes when you tell things to people, you never know what kinds of intentions they may have for you. Some people may not want to see you succeed and may have negative energy towards you and may not want to see you, become happy or successful or pursue what it is that you want to do. Maybe they put you down, but I've always just been very careful with who it is that I tell something to. That also doesn't just go for like what you may be working on with, projects or stuff for your future. That can also go with personal stuff that maybe happens in your family, personal stuff that may be happening in your relationship, to not overshare with others, because again, you never know what kind of intentions these people may have. Sometimes you think somebody's a very good friend and they really aren't. Sometimes they may go and talk smack behind your back. So you never know. And listen, the sun right now is looking pretty dang good outside right now, and it's about to be 1 o'clock. It's 12:44. So I'm gonna take advantage right now and I'm gonna go get a little bit of vitamin D, which is my next thing that I've learned, is to make sure you get in your vitamin D, whether it's supplemental or through the beautiful sun. Vitamin D is so important to us. It almost acts like a hormone in your body. So if you're deficient in vitamin D, you're more prone to getting sick. You're more prone to being kind of moody, kind of sad, have a little bit of anxiety. Ever since I started taking vitamin D and also getting my daily dose of vitamin D from the sun, I just feel like it has completely boosted my mood. I feel really good. And honestly, I can see why countries like Germany are a little bit cranky, because they go through that, what is it, that like seasonal depression where it's like things are just all gloomy and cloudy and sad. And I'm like, dang, man, that really sucks. Like, I feel really bad for you. I live here in Miami and we have sun all the time. And sometimes I think about it and I'm like, man, is that why people in the Caribbean are so fun and so like all about, dancing and, like having a good time? Is it because we get all this sun? Because that's how I feel all the time. So I'm going to continue and go and do some deliveries right now. But something else I want to bring up is that I love old things. Like my car, for example. I don't know if you can see my car there, but my car is amazing. This baby has gotten me through so many things, and I just have such an appreciation for old things. Like, I feel like when they're well taken care of, they just have such a great story behind them and they're just so unique. So I love old cars. I love like maybe old little hand-me-downs from my grandparents, because they just have so much value and so much history, and like they've been through stuff. So it's just so meaningful to me. My car here was handed to me by my dad. I remember going to the dealership with him when I was like 6 years old to go and buy that car. And I just had so many good times in that car. Like, so many good times when I was a kid. Like, my mom taking us and our friends to go watch movies in that car, to go take us eat pizza. And it just has so much value to me that, like, there is no price tag on that vehicle, like, whatsoever. Okay, so before I actually head out to drive, something else that I have to say is that your girl's a grandma driver. I have learned that it is not worth like cutting like crazy in front of people, speeding, like all this stuff that you just end up doing when you're younger, like driving like a reckless person. It is not worth doing it at all. Like, my life is worth so much more. I've been in accidents before, and it's not a good time. It's very scary, and it's not fun getting tickets. Like, that's also not a good time, paying $300 for a fine for going over the speed limit by like 15, 20 miles an hour. Also, just doing this Uber thing for the past year, I have seen people do the craziest things on the road because I've never driven so much in my life. And I've just seen people do the most insane things that I'm like, man, if I didn't have like four eyeballs like looking everywhere, I mean, I would have gotten into that accident, you know, because I've seen people take red lights, take stop signs, just not paying attention to the road, being on their phone, like just all this craziness. And it's pretty scary out there on the road, and it's not something, you know, you want to be in. You don't want to be involved in some sort of an accident. So drive like a grandma. You know what? Okay, wait. Maybe don't drive like a grandma, because I've seen those two and they're driving like 20 miles an hour. But yeah, just, you know, I'm a pretty safe and slow speed driver, especially in my car. That my car can barely go over like 60 miles an hour. After getting out of the gym, there's a few things I want to touch on. And one of them is the importance of moving your body. Our bodies were meant to move. And if you're working at a job that you're just sedentary all day long, and then you come home and sit your butt on the couch, and that's all you do every day for years, you're going to feel like a load of garbage. So it's so important for you to be active, whether that's in just going for walks or doing some form of physical activity that you enjoy doing. Maybe that's going and playing some tennis with your friends, or going and doing some strength training, whatever it may be, dancing even. I mean, it feels good. And you and I both know that. Like, you know that when you go and do some exercise, you feel that endorphin rush like right after, like, oh yeah. Like, nobody ever regrets doing a workout. Ever. That just doesn't happen. You regret not doing a workout. So just remember that. And also, I want to touch on how important it is to listen to your body. Your body, when there's something wrong, it's going to show you signs. And sometimes those signs may not be very obvious, as in like this big gigantic blister on your arm or something. It may be signs that are more subtle, as in maybe you having some brain fog, maybe certain things appearing on your skin, digestive issues, just a variety of different things. It could even be like depression, anxiety, and that's your body telling you that like something's wrong. So it's up to you to listen to those signs, to pay attention to them, and to try and figure out what it is that's going on. There's something deeper inside your body that's going on. Maybe there's a deficiency in something. Maybe there's something that you're overdoing, whether that's with food, with maybe certain substances. You're abusing certain substances like caffeine. So it's up to you to pay attention to those signs and to do something about it. Something important to note is that I'm very aware of how music makes me feel. I've definitely noticed how that can just affect my day, how it can affect my mood. Maybe not that day or that week even. It could take some time, but I have noticed, like, when I've gone through a phase of listening to some like dark music, some heavy stuff, I definitely see how my mood alters, and I'll tend to be maybe a little bit sadder, like things are just a little darker. And I've definitely realized that that's because of the music that I listen to. So the music that I listen to, I'll listen to it in moderation. I like to listen to a little bit of everything, but I don't overdo it with the rock. I don't overdo it with the metal or rap for that matter either. It can definitely influence you, even though you may not realize it. It can put you in a good or bad mood, an angry mood. So just be very aware of that. Also, just degrading music. I mean, you listen to certain rappers that talk about women a certain way and, all this. I mean, that eventually influences you too. And you start to maybe even think that way. I love all music, but I try to keep a balance of a little bit of everything. Now, the music that I like to listen to the most is just all in all happy music. Just music that is very uplifting, soft, gets me in a really good mood, makes me want to dance. That is the best kind of music in my opinion. That I'll listen to all the time, every day, because that, like, there is no way that it can affect my mood aside that it makes me happy, it makes me smile, and I just want to dance. So listen to some good, happy music. It'll get your day started off right. I mean, I feel like if they want to meet with you again, that's a good sign. Something else I've also learned now that I got out of the shower and I actually saw it was to not get a belly piercing. And I know, some people are going to be against that, but girl, let me tell you, when I was 18 years old, I was super excited to go and get my belly pierced. I thought it was super cute. And what happened was that my body rejected that piercing after like a year. Belly piercings just don't go well with people that try and exercise, I feel, because you're constantly like pulling on the skin and tugging on the skin, and I don't know, I guess it just doesn't let your piercing heal properly, and my body just rejected it pushed it out, and it has left me with a huge scar on my belly button, and I just always look at it and I can't stand that scar. So I learned my lesson. I should have listened to my mom when she told me not to get a belly piercing. So that's definitely a hard lesson learned, not have that scar there. And yeah, when I have kids, I'm going to be like, don't be like mom. Don't be like mom and get a belly piercing. Something I've also come to realize after all these years is that being broke wasn't necessarily such a bad thing after all, especially when I was younger, because when I was younger and I was going through a little bit of my rebellious stage where I wanted to get piercings and I wanted to get tattoos, looking back on those moments where I wanted all those tattoos and I thought they were super cool at the moment and I loved them, I'm really glad I didn't do them now. I do have 2 tattoos. I'm fine with the ones that I have. I don't plan on getting any more. Like, I got over the whole itch to want to get all these tattoos, like on my fingers or, on my back, all these things. I still think they're really cool and really pretty, but just on my body now, it's just something that I don't care for and I really don't want. Why did I go on here? I don't remember. So, as you saw, I just finished showering and washing my hair. And that's something else I'd like to touch on, is to remember to just try and fix yourself up, put on that little bit of makeup, because it feels really good. Like, right now I can't speak that much right now because I have like no makeup on and I'm not all dressed up and looking nice, but my hair was mad dirty. It was mad dirty and I was like, I need to clean this hair. So just washing my hair, drying my hair, it makes me feel so much better. Like, if you're just not having the best day and you're crying your eyes out one day, and on top of that you have like super greasy hair, your skin, it's like you haven't washed your face all day, you're dressed in rags, like, you just feel even worse about yourself. So just putting in that extra little effort into yourself of just going to shower, shower, cleaning yourself up, cleaning up your hair, putting on a little makeup, and changing your outfit, you would be so surprised on what that can do to like boost your mood. So no matter what it is that you may be going through, that definitely can help. And I already told you guys that I'm broke. Your girl is real broke. She's doing Uber Eats deliveries, but something that I will never give up on doing is going and doing my nails. It is one of the only things that I do that I'll spend money on myself that makes me feel good. This is my one thing that I do that makes me feel really good. Yeah, some may be like, oh, that's silly to spend money on fixing up your nails, you know. I don't spend my money on other things, like I don't go out to eat, I don't spend money daily on coffee, but I will go and spend my money every 3 to 4 weeks to go and get my nails done, because it makes me feel so nice when I look at my hands and they're nicely groomed and I don't have to worry about, you know, my nail polish chipping or my hands looking all crusty. I will Uber just to go and do my nails. Spend money on one thing that makes you feel really, really good. It does it for you. And that's what my nails do for me. Now I've just gotta lean in a little closer for this one, but I want to talk a little bit about sex. Now, I know that there's a lot of people saying, oh, sex is sex, you know, just go and sleep with whoever, you know. But that's not necessarily the case. So when it comes to sex, I find that to be a very, very intimate and special moment with somebody. You have to ask questions like, is this somebody you really genuinely love? Is this somebody that genuinely loves me back and has good intentions with me? Sleeping with somebody just to sleep with them and pretend like they don't exist tomorrow, or just because it's fun, this is not fun. It hurts. It does not feel good to be intimate with somebody that just doesn't care about you at all. I don't care what people say, it does not feel good, it doesn't feel right. So I just highly recommend that you're very cautious of who it is that you allow into your body. You just don't want to allow everybody's energy from, you know, down the block into you. So I definitely recommend that it's somebody that you truly, truly, genuinely love, and that you know truly, genuinely loves you and cares for you back. Also, on that note, I'm speaking to the women now. Don't ever be that woman to get in between somebody's relationship. Don't be that woman. Don't be that woman to ruin a marriage, to ruin a relationship because you're trying to meterte en el medio. Karma will come back to bite you in the butt. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to have another woman try and come in between your relationship, and it is one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. Just seeing that she's another woman and just thinking that she would have respect for my relationship, and seeing that she didn't just like really kind of hurt me. I will never want to make another woman feel that pain. I would never do that to somebody else because I know what it feels like. It feels like your heart is just torn out of your body, and it's not a good experience. And I can only imagine women who have like families and are happily married, and then all of a sudden they have this other mistress coming along and getting in between everything and ruining this beautiful marriage. That man is not worth it. If that man really wanted to be with you, he would not be with that woman that he is currently with. He would separate himself from her and then be with you. There are plenty of other men, and like I said, if they really wanted to be with you, they would. And on the relationship topic, I think it's also important for you to know when to be silent. Obviously, it's very common in relationships to get in arguments, to get in fights, and I used to get in arguments all the time, and I used to be a lot more defensive, but I've definitely come to realize that, you know, there's a time and a place for me to be upset and to get my point across, and there's a time and place for me to just be quiet and listen to my man, listen to what he has to say, and I don't always have to be right. I want my man to take the lead, to take charge, and I want to listen to what it is that he has to say. And I want him to be right, and I want to follow his direction. So just arguing over silly little things for no reason just because I want to be right all the time just doesn't make sense to me anymore. It's not worth it. It's just going to lead me to having such a sour relationship, and that's not the kind of relationship I want. I want my relationship to be nice, to be peaceful. But yeah, of course, if I'm real upset about something, he's gonna hear that, you know? But for the little things that I used to maybe argue about before, I let it go. I know now when to let things go and just move past it. And that's it. It's not worth arguing about. It's not worth being right about. It doesn't matter. It's not that serious. I highly recommend you go for walks. Maybe you just have a lot of stuff going on up here. Things are all jumbled up and you just need to get a breath of fresh air. It's helped me in so many situations that I thought were like this huge big deal. And when I went out for a walk and thought about it after, I was like, oh, no, it's not as serious as I thought it was. And sometimes you go out on walks and you appreciate things around you that you don't normally appreciate. At least that's what I find that happens to me. I'll hear the birds singing and chirping, or I'll see the leaves moving, or I'll look at the sky, or I'll see the sunset. So it really just helps to wind me down, calm me down. Now, another one I have for you is to take care of your skin. Male or female, you need to take care of your skin. I know, like I said, right now my skin is going through a rough patch and it's full of all these beautiful bumps on my face right now, but I cannot emphasize the importance of taking care of your skin. It's one of the first things that people notice. It can either make or break your self-esteem, and I don't care how much makeup you put on to cover up your breakouts, but no amount of makeup can hide bad skin. If your skin is looking beautiful, you're just gonna look so healthy, glowy, youthful. You're gonna have nice looking skin, as you're aging. And that's definitely something that I want for my future. I want to be 50 years old and I want to have this beautiful, glowing skin. Make sure you moisturize, you use your sunscreen, and you'll be good to go. Now, one of the most important ones I feel of this list is to trust your gut instincts. I mean, quite literally, like we all know what it feels like to have just that like pit in your stomach and you just know something doesn't feel right. You like sense it. It's almost like this sixth sense that you have, and most of the time it can be true. And in my case, I have learned to trust my gut feelings when something just doesn't feel right, when something just feels off. There's been instances in the past where I've maybe been with a group of people, for example, like at work, and they're all going towards a certain decision, and the decision maybe I wanted to make was the other way. I just kind of went with what everybody else was saying, and I should have ended up trusting my intuition, trusting that gut feeling, because at the end, it ended up biting me in the butt. I've also come to learn that things happen for a reason. Good and bad, things happen in your life for a reason. The good moments are there for you to cherish, for you to be happy. And I feel like the bad moments in your life are there to build your character, build resilience, and teach you lessons, whether that is heartbreak, whether that's you losing a job, losing out on an opportunity, moving. I mean, just everything happens for a reason. People come in and out of our lives for a reason. Maybe they're there to teach us things. to show us things, to show us new feelings. Now, this is something that took me quite a long time to bring my wall down and really just embrace it, and that was to be emotional. Now, I used to be one of those people that I was like, I have no emotions. I don't cry. Excuse me, what are you even talking about? I have like no feelings at all. That was real dumb, because what ended up happening was I just ended up repressing all those feelings and holding it all in, and eventually my glass got real full of feelings and I cracked. I was just all over the place. So I have definitely learned that over time, it's okay to be emotional. I'm not saying to be emotional all the time and go cry every day, and be a mess. What I'm saying is that when you do feel certain things, let's say you are in a moment of sadness or in a moment of heartbreak, don't try and just hold it all in. Feel what it is that you have to feel in that moment. You're not going to feel like that forever. Cry if you have to, be alone if you have to, talk to whoever it is you need to, but really just learn to embrace those feelings, feel them, and I feel like doing that just helps you move forward instead of maybe somebody that is just holding those feelings in and maybe not good feelings. Then that can lead to someone having like negative feelings towards someone or resentment. I guess the only one I don't really embrace is anger. I don't know. I don't think I get angry too often, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm very calm. You see, this is where the patience comes in, because I feel like having a lot of patience has helped me keep my calm during very intense moments. I don't want to waste my energy on feeling those negative feelings and those bad, angry feelings. So I once had somebody get very, very upset with me because of a way I acted, because I think maybe laughed too loud at something, or I don't know, I was just being myself, and I had somebody get very, very upset with me and like scold me like if they were my dad. And I remember that really scarred me, because I was like, okay, well, I can't be myself. And after that moment, I was very afraid to just act like myself. And I want to tell you that that's not a good feeling. So don't ever let somebody hold you back and make you feel afraid of like being who you really are. I think that for myself, there's a time for me to be serious and there's a time for me to be goofy. So that's just how I like it. And, if somebody else doesn't like that, then maybe that's just not the right person for you or the person to be around. And on that same note, don't be afraid to love. I know that sounds so corny, like, oh my God, Ashley, don't be afraid to love. Well, I'm being dead serious, because for a long time, I was very closed off and scared of showing my love for somebody. I was always taught like to be careful with that, and men are just gonna hurt you. Don't fall for a man because they're gonna break your heart at the end of the day and all this stuff. But I've come to realize that when you feel that you're with the right person. Honestly, I feel like I've come to that place. In my opinion, I feel like I'm with my right person, and I just want to fully embrace that feeling of love, because for a long time, I didn't even know what love truly felt like. Like, I didn't really know what the heck it was. And then a few years down the line, I was like, oh, so this is what love is supposed to feel like. And it feels so good. And I feel like we're all just looking for love. We're all looking for this warm love and this connection with somebody. And it's just such a beautiful feeling. It would be so sad for you to just hold off from truly feeling that feeling with somebody else, you know? If you're with somebody that you really care about and you really love, don't be afraid to show it to them. This life is too short. And the last thing I have to say is that I get better with age. I feel like I would never go back to being my 20-year-old self, my 15-year-old self. I feel like every single year that goes by, I get smarter, I get wiser, I become this better, more beautiful person that I just appreciate so much more. Every year I learn something new, and I always just feel like I'm getting better. I get better with age, girl. I'm like a fine wine. So I am just so happy for my 30s. I can't wait until this new decade, what it's gonna bring upon in my life. I feel like my 20s were great. It was a lot of learning throughout my 20s, you know, and a lot of feeling lost. And I'm not gonna lie, I still feel a little bit of that now. But I know in my 30s, just what I have to look forward to is so incredible. I look forward to family. I look forward to raising this beautiful like family, these beautiful little people. And I just feel like it's going to be such an exciting time with not only just family, but you know, with career, just with everything. I feel like so many wonderful things are going to happen in my 30s, and I'm very, very, very excited for it. And you should be too. So don't be afraid to get older. It's such a beautiful thing. So learn to embrace it. And yeah, that's all I have to say for you guys. That's what I've learned over the past 30 years for the most part. At least some of the most important things that I think stood out to me. So I hope you guys maybe take some of these lessons along with you and some of my tips. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.